Any questions?
Why should somebody receive any credit for something that he knows for sure he's going to get? For example, Moshe Rabbeinu ran to fight for Hashem,
Ken?
knowing that Hashem said to him, after this Mitzvah, taking you or die. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. If today we know that Hashem pays everybody for the Mitzvah they make,
Right?
not even knowing the value of each mitzvah, but we have a general idea from what was described earlier what a mitzvah can be worth.
Right?
And isn't it natural for Moshe Rabbeinu to run and do this, or anybody with that understanding?
Let me try to, I don't know if I understand the question. So you're saying, why does Moshe Rabbeinu get credit
Anyone.
or anyone get credit for fulfilling a mitzvah that he's obligated to do anyway?
No, would run to do it.
Why would he run to do it?
Why should he be praised for something like this, with the understanding that he has?
Yeah.
To run to do it, but he's praised for it.
Because he still has, a human being still has his evil inclination, regardless of how great he is, he still has a natural inclination to not want it. So even though a person knows that, let's say for example, we talked about Birkat HaMazon a lot today. He knows that Birkat HaMazon is the greatest blessing, it's the number one blessing, and so on, and he heard the Shiur 500 times, and he read the Musar book that I recommend about Birkat HaMazon, and he knows all of it. Still, when it comes to actually doing the Birkat HaMazon, the Satan will arrive in a different, unusual way to interfere. What's going to happen? All of a sudden, his kid is crying. All of a sudden, his wife is crying. All of a sudden, he's crying. All of a sudden, the lamp falls off. All of a sudden, somebody's at the door. All of a sudden, something's always going to happen that unless he is committed fully at all times, he's going to veer it off. So it's not necessarily just because he knows he's going to do. If righteousness was purely based on knowledge, Mashiach would have arrived a long time ago. Because we had plenty of people that were very, very knowledgeable. Even somebody like Sabbatai Zevi, Shem Reshaim Yerkav, was a big Talmid Chacham. Huge Talmid Chacham. But became a Rasha. And all of the other false messiahs, many of them, started off good. You don't just become a false messiah in Am Yisrael just because you have long hair and a mustache. And you look like you just came from one of these shows on TV. No, it's the thing is that these people knew a lot of Torah. These people knew a lot of things, and in some cases were even able to do things, magical things, supernatural things. And they got to it sometimes through wisdom, through Kedusha, and so on. But unfortunately, Hashem gave, each thing the opposite, or something that's weighs against it. Hashem gave Am Yisrael Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem gave the Goyim Belaam. Now Belaam technically had one power that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have. Belaam technically had the ability to be even greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why it says in the Torah, Hashem did not make anyone like Moshe Rabbeinu in Israel. He didn't make another Moshe Rabbeinu. He didn't make a prophet like Moshe Rabbeinu in Am Yisrael. But outside of Am Yisrael, he did. Who? Belaam. Belaam had the ability to be bigger. But instead, he decided to marry his donkey. Instead, he decided to marry Tum'ah, Goal Nefesh, disgustingness. And that's why right now, he's burning in boiling semen.
Is that meant to be taken literally though?
Yes. There are a couple of opinions of what the Zera Roteach is. Some say it's literal. Some say it comes from certain things. Some say it's slightly different. But needless to say, it's horrible. It's a place in Gehinnam that doesn't end.
Is Sabbatai Zevi the one that converted to Islam?
Yeah. He's also the one that Rabbi Yaron Reuven actually helped to fix his neshama when he found him as a dibuk in a certain woman. It's in Rabbi Yaron Reuven's book, Huh? Yeah, that one. I think I told you guys a little bit about it maybe a few months ago. So it's in there, and one of the luchot that he spoke to and helped is him. Rabbi Yaron is Sabbatai Zevi.
But had he just gotten killed instead of convert, he would have had the next world.
No, he was a Rasha Merusha. He made a lot of sins. He made a lot of sins. I mean, he didn't just convert. Converting was the least of his problems. He made a lot of other sins. Womanizer, women, and so on.
People thought he was the Mashiach, no?
Yes, a lot of people thought he was the Mashiach, and a lot of other people were the Mashiach. He's one of the false messiahs. That's the definition of false messiahs. People think he's a Mashiach.
Yeah, you just said in order to be a false messiah, you have to be like a big Talmid Chacham or something. You can't just be like what you're describing him as, you know?
No. Like I said, knowing information does not mean you're righteous. There's plenty of people that know a lot of information but are extremely wicked. And I gave false messiahs as a example of it. Many of them knew a lot of information, but they were wicked. That's it. So knowledge does not mean righteousness. That's the point. So just because somebody has knowledge does not mean they're righteous. And we actually learn this in Pirkei Avot. A person that has as Yirat Shamayim, his chokhmah will come to life, will be fulfilled. A person that does not have chokhmah, does not have Yirat Shamayim, his chokhmah does not come to life, does not become fulfilled. Meaning it does not go into his actual life, and so on. Next question.
Now, what if somebody violated Shabbat, like we were discussing before, by accident before he dies?
Accident is shogeg. The question is, why was shogeg? Was it shogeg because he didn't learn the halacha? Was it shogeg because he forgot it was Shabbat? If he forgot it was Shabbat, he woke up a little bit, disheveled, and he forgot it was Shabbat momentarily. He turned on the light. That's a certain level. That is, he has to bring korban chatat. Bet HaMikdash comes, he has to bring korban chatat. There's a tshuva for this. But if he violated Shabbat because he simply didn't study Torah because he wanted to skip the shiur and go to the club instead, then the Mishnah says Shgagat Talmud Ola Zadon, because his gaga, his accidental sin wasn't really accidental. It was he intentionally did not learn. If his accidental sin was as a result of acts of intentional lack of learning, then his accidental sin turns into purposeful sin. Meaning in Shamayim, he has a serious problem. So if it's lack of learning the reason, that's a problem. If it's just accident because he forgot it's Shabbat or he's something like that, it's a different story. Then there's tshuva for that. Yeah.
Someone who learns a lot of Torah and
Where are all these people learning a lot of Torah? I want to meet them.
yeah, a lot of people today they learn a lot of Torah.
Baruch Hashem. No? Go ahead.
They seem to value material possession more than the Torah that they learn.
Okay, so
Of these people, can we say that they have Torah?
listen, I'm not a judge or jury to know who doesn't have Torah. But like I said, knowledge does not mean righteousness. I know of somebody that has an enormous amount of knowledge, and he studies Gemara on Shabbat while smoking a cigarette. He has an enormous amount of knowledge, but it means nothing to him in reality. Benjamin Netanyahu, if you see all of his speeches, you'll notice that behind him, he has the entire Shas. In many of his speeches, he gives a speech, he has books behind him. He has the entire Shas. He studies Gemara. Does it mean much to him in his real life? Probably not. Because you look at his life, it doesn't seem like much. Doesn't seem like he's Mr. Religious. He's not a little Moshe Rabbeinu or anything. He has a high IQ, but that's meaningless in Torah. So, Yirat Shamayim is not something that depends on knowledge. And knowledge does not mean Yirat Shamayim. Now you could, so the people that are going to work on Yirat Shamayim, it's not just learning halachot. A lot of people learn halachot. They know the law, and they know it by heart. But we already covered it in the beginning of the shiur, that our Torah is not something you just learn halachot. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It's not a song. Like Abaye says in Gemara Masechet Shabbat, it's not a song. We're not supposed to learn the Torah like a song, know it by heart, so you just know the law. Meaning you have to feel it, you have to connect to it, you have to understand it, you have to make it part of you, become part of it. It's your life. That's Torah. If you are materialistic, that means you don't have time and ability to make Torah your life. Because there's just so much space in your neshama. The more materialistic a person is, the less space he has for Torah, for real Torah. And that's why there's a Gemara, I forget where it is, says that Hashem, ever since the destruction of Bet HaMikdash, all he has is 4 amot. All he has in the world is 4 amot. 6 to 8 feet. 4 amot. So what does it mean? One of the Pirushim says that Hashem in essence is telling you, if you want to connect to me, you also have to distance yourself from material. The more materialistic you are, the less space for Hashem you have. So you may know information, you may know a lot of yes and no's, allowed, not allowed, allowed, not allowed, allowed, not allowed, but you're not connected to it. It's not your life. If the opportunity came up and a woman that's attractive to you came, or a bunch of money that doesn't belong to you came, or an opportunity to sin came, you'd sin. And that's the thing. What makes a person a tzaddik, what's the difference between a tzaddik and a rasha, is what they do under extreme pressure. What makes you a diamond is extreme pressure. When things are easy, you have a bunch of money, you have your kids, your wife, everybody's healthy, everybody's great, it's easy to be a tzaddik. Everybody's Moshe Rabbeinu when everything is good. Everybody's tzaddik. But when time's hard, when somebody's sick, when you get into an accident, when Hashem Yachem, you lost all types of things in your life, whether it's possessions, money, health, sanity, whatever, and you're still that way, you're a diamond. You're a diamond. That's tzaddik. But that only happens if you have Yirat Shamayim to begin with. If you're connected to Hashem to begin with. If your entire connection with Hashem was based purely on yes and no's, as soon as something fails in your magical, perfect world, it all fails. It all fails. And I've seen it, unfortunately, time and time again. You see it with women all the time. They're the biggest tzaddikot in the world in the home. They wear kisuros and they pray and they read Tehillim from here to next year and every day they read the whole book and this and that. As soon as the wedding comes of one of their sons or a neighbor or a friend, all of a sudden they're a movie star with the wig reaching the floor, the kisuros goes into the garbage, the dress becomes extra. What happened to Tzadikah? What happened to Sarai Menu? Oh, she's still home. She's still home. She'll be back tomorrow. She'll be back tomorrow. She's off today. She'll be back tomorrow. Same thing with the guys. The guy has the beard. He comes to the shul. He looks like Moshe Rabbeinu in the shul every day with tefillin and this and that. As soon as a money deal comes, it's illegal money. Let's close our eye. Let's close our eye. So there's a lot of superficial, fake stuff in the world. If you're talking about those, unfortunately, they've always existed. They always will exist until the Mashiach comes and destroys all of them. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about people that we're trying to be. We're trying to be the ones that actually make it. To make it, that means all of that stuff stays with the Reshaim. We're trying to be tzaddikim. We're trying to be righteous. We're trying to at least try. Point is that, there's obvious. It's obvious that you're not allowed to even attend a mixed dance wedding. It's obvious. Obvious, Isul Deoraita. Forget about have it yourself. Attend it. You're not allowed to attend one. You're not allowed to attend, even be one of the guests, even if it's your brother, even if it's your father, your son. You're not allowed to attend. You're not allowed to go inside a place. You're not allowed to go inside the place because Sifrei Hasidim writes that as soon as there's such a thing, every second it's in there, there's a new demon created. And all of those demons go with the people home. They go with them home. They don't leave. They don't stay at the party. They go with them home. And you have no idea what kind of craziness I hear of what happens at these places after the wedding. The wedding is the least of the problem. The bar mitzvah is the least of the problem. What happens after is the real problem. Oh, he liked her, she liked him. Yeah, but she's married. Sometimes. Yeah, he's married. Yeah, sometimes. But they're religious. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes. Religious up to now. You guys, listen, you don't want to know what happens in them. I'm telling you, I heard some horrible things. I see the world is not peaches. It's not peaches. When Hashem says something in the Torah, He means it. It's serious business. He says not allowed, it's not allowed. And anyone that goes against it, okay, doesn't take the relationship with Hashem seriously. That's it, simple. I don't care if they have a kippah bigger than mine. Don't make a difference. The exterior is very, very meaningless. It's not. It's obviously it's supposed to represent something. But the Gemara in Masechet Tanit, page 25a, says that Hashem Yitbarach tells us in the book of Ezekiel, I believe, that instead of ripping your clothes, rip your hearts. Forget about ripping your clothes. I don't care about your clothes. I care about your hearts. Rip your hearts. Rip tshuva. Your beard, your hat, your all that stuff. Nice, but doesn't mean much. You know, it's if you're gonna sell me out for a woman, you're gonna sell me out for money, you're gonna sell me out for little things, then it's all worthless. You're better off you didn't do it. So whoever wants to have Yirat Shamayim is going to know that the ingredient to learn Yirat Shamayim is learn Musar every single day, without a single break. Musar must become no different than air in your lungs. There's not a single day in your life that you don't learn Musar. And when you learn it, you meditate on it, you think about it, you write it down, you go over it again, you go over it again, doesn't end. In essence, anyone that wants to get to Olam Haba, they have to aspire to be Moshe Rabbeinu. They have to aspire to be Avraham Avinu. They have to aspire to be Sarai Menu. They have to aspire to be the greatest. They may not be the greatest, but they have to aspire to be. So even, it's just like in business. I always told people, listen, you have to aspire to be the billionaire. You have to aspire to be a millionaire. Don't be aspired to be an average guy. Average guy, I don't want to hire you. You have to aspire to make $1 million a month, $10 million a month. Why? Because if you really aspire to make $1 million a month, even if you don't make it, you're probably still going to make $200,000-300,000 a month. You're still okay. But if you aspire to make $100,000 a year, at best you'll make $60,000. I don't want to hire you for that. You understand? You have to aspire, but aspire means you make changes in your life and so on. It's not just, I wish I won the lotto. I wish. There's a lot of wishes. Don't wish. B'Seder, B'ezrat Hashem, it's late already. I think we're out of time. Tomorrow night we have a shiur in Miami, right? Miami? Yeah, Miami. Tomorrow in Miami. Sunday we're not going to be able to have the shiur. We're skipping this one Sunday. But then we're back here Tuesday. Again, Tuesday and Wednesday in Aventura. Other than that, guys, hopefully you got enough information. Maybe by next week you'll have Ruach HaKodesh. B'ezrat Hashem, if you get it, let me know so I can tell people, make some YouTube comments. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.